Hey, True Believers England team here, and I am here with Aaron Sparrow. Now, this is a little blind date set up by Tim Lim. He was like, "Hey, you got to meet this guy, Aaron. He's a Disney guy too, and you're a Disney guy. I'm a Disney guy. Both of us are named Aaron." Hello to Till Hilliam, who's in the chat. So, and just like any other, he said, "Okay, you guys get together and chat about Disney and all that kind of stuff. See ya." So we just actually met just a little bit ago. I've heard you've been on Wes's channel. Eric says he's going to jump on in just a little bit. But you're a Disney guy. You live out by you live in California, what you were saying?
Yeah, I live in California, not far from not that far from Disneyland.
When was your first time, or were you like a little tyke, or is it out to Disneyland?
You know, I've been a Californian my entire life, native Californian. And so, you know, we grew up going to Disneyland, and some of my earliest memories are of going to the park and having a good time. So I remember, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when, you know, Grandma was pulling the e-tickets out so that you could go on the exciting rides. That's how long I've been going to Disneyland.
Yeah, same here. My mother actually has a picture. She was a cast member in 1971. And she has a picture of me as a baby in front of the castle. So there is never a time that I'd never had Disney in my life. And speaking of Disney, here is Eric Back Issue Breen. How are you doing, sir?
Maybe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Okay,
my close and play made that noise that it makes, what usually says, you know, F you, I'm not coming on.
Okay. So we will be getting to the comics and everything as well. By the way, speaking of Disney, I did get your package today that you sent to me. You got to check this out, Aaron, something that Eric Breen sent to me. Oh, shoot. Where'd I put it?
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
Nice.
Oh, my gosh.
Nice to finally meet you.
I don't know. We've both been on Wes's channel, right? But we've never been on at the same time.
Right. There you go. Check this out.
Oh, wow.
This was a gift from Mr. Eric Breen. Now, I'm actually a fan of the show. I thought it was on the Mickey Mouse Club, and then it kind of spun off. But I am actually a fan of Spin and Marty. I liked it as a kid. I remember watching the show quite a bit, and then he also sent this. I didn't. By the way, the green screen is acting up with the Peter Pan. I didn't, when you showed the picture originally, I didn't see that somebody used a hole punch on this thing. That's
like to put it in a binder?
Yeah, I guess so. They put their comics in a binder.
That was big once upon a time. I've come across. Yeah, I had a Hulk 118 and a Daredevil 69, which those were battle issues that some idiot put hole punches through to put in a binder.
That is funny, but I think it's awesome. They're going to be going up on the wall here somewhere. Eric's been feeding the dragon basically. Hello to Ed Brewer saying yo. Jim Sorensen's in the house as well as Joe. What's going on, guys? Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to be talking Disney. We're going to be talking comics. We're going to try not to get Aaron fired from Disney or whatever he's doing with them. But I cannot promise that, in all honesty, because I've got a mouth. But no, I've been going to Disney since birth, really. There's never been a time without. So we will have to ask the question, because I've never been to Disneyland, by the way. I've never been.
World?
Yeah, I'm at Disney World. This is my playpen right here, my backyard.
I've only been to one part of Disney World, which
one?
Whichever one has the Tower of Terror and the Aerosmith coaster.
Hollywood Studios. Yeah, and what did you think of said Aerosmith coaster and Tower of Terror?
I thought the coaster itself was really good. The Aerosmith coaster was an exciting ride, but like the setup is weird and the whole theme is weird.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Bizarre kind of thing to like, especially coming from Disneyland, having gone there my whole life, and then being in Hollywood Studios and having it be, very much kind of like corporate Hollywood, seemed very strange. And but I like the fact that coaster, if you've never been on it, to anybody who's listening who's never been on it, it launches you like immediately into just
360
so fast, into a loop. And that I wasn't ready for that, so that was kind of exciting. So
that it is a lot of fun, and the pre-show, the whole theming to this particular roller coaster, you are guests of Aerosmith, and they to their recording studio, but they've got to get to a concert. So why don't we order a stretch limo to take all of these people with us? And of course, you go on, the stretch limo is the roller coaster car, and they have this like 10-minute opening of them acting back and forth. And I got to tell you, as far as acting goes, they are an awesome rock band. They were playing themselves, and I wasn't believing it.
I was standing there like wondering I was like saying to myself, what is happening? It was a really weird time to go to, because we had gone out for Star Wars Celebration, and it was right around the time that I had been fired from Boom Studios. I was in a big fight with them because they were denying me the credit on the Darkwing book and giving it to somebody else, and I found out they were actively, one person there in particular was actively behind the scenes trying to ruin my reputation and keep me out of keep me from ever working in comics again. And I was going through a breakup. So I was in Florida. It was hot. It was humid. I was completely miserable. And I'm at Hollywood Studios on this Aerosmith coaster. And I'm like, what is happening? What's happening right now? I can't even follow this narrative. I don't know what's going on. just put me on the coaster, please.
Hot, humid, and miserable. Yeah, that describes. That's why Florida people are so crazy. We're hot, humid, and miserable all the time. It actually fits. Rhaegar saying he went down to Disney World for senior high school graduation in 2001, and they shut down the whole park for 2 days. I know that for graduation days, they shut down at a certain time, and then it's kind of an overnight thing. Mm-hmm. And I never went to a graduation day. I did work them, and I could tell you there's nothing more fun than trying to drag a couple of horny teens out of the bushes. That's a lot of fun. Not really. No, it isn't. But I have had to do that. The weird thing is the Rock of Ages. I was over at Universal, the Christian kids. Whoa, guys, let them vent a little bit during the year so they don't do the stuff they do when you let them off the hook for that one day. That's all I got to say about it. So you had trouble with Boom Studios. They tried to get
It's pretty well documented, my big fight with Boom Studios, and then and then I was ghostwriting the Darkwing book, and they were still, but see, they didn't know that I was involved, but they did know that they were getting scripts from James Silvani, because they had asked, because the scripts that were coming from the writer that they were working with and giving credit to were terrible. So the editors were like, hey, can you fix this to Silvani? And Silvani came to me, and I told him, I said, well, I stopped doing this because of how they were treating me. And, Tad Stones had said that company is treating you like crap. Don't do anything to help them. And I was like, but Tad, this is your baby. This is your book. And I worked so hard to get it done. And it's like, it was such a dream to get it done and to get it out there. And he said, no, I don't care. Like, I don't want you doing any work for them when they treated you this way. So I stopped. I told the editor, I said, I'm not going to ghostwrite this anymore. And I guess the first script without me ghostwriting it was still my plots, but the first script that came back without me was so bad that he went to James Silvani. So Silvani called me and was like, can you help? And I was like, James, I told him my conversation with Tad. I was like, I can't do it. And at the time, James had just gotten back into comics. Right before I had hired him, he was going through like a career slump, and he was, just kind of had that career identity crisis of like, what am I doing with my life? And then he got back into the comic, and the comic was successful, and he wanted to keep that going. And because he was my friend, I agreed to do it. But I said, at the end of this, we get to say that I this was me. And he was like, oh, absolutely. So we were.
You're here with me, Eric. So, okay, he's the one that's frozen. Here he is. Okay. You're back. Yeah.
We didn't get final dialogue on the book, which is why there were still some really rough moments in it, even though we were plotting it and whatnot. But like none of our dialogue was getting used really. And of course, they were taking credit for it. So when the book ended up, the rights ended up at Joe Books, and they wanted to reprint the Darkwing material, Disney Publishing, who knew, what had happened, said, you can redo this, but you know, you need to go back and get the original scripts. We'd like to do a version that has the original scripts restored. And so James and I got to come back in and fix everything, and that's how we got the Darkwing Duck Definitively Dangerous Edition Omnibus, which at the time I think sold for $30, and now sometimes goes for over $900.
900. That okay? Occasionally your audio is going out. I know you had problems before. Occasionally it goes out there, but
yeah, sometimes I mean, sometimes you can find it cheaper, but generally it goes, you know, $500 to $1,000.
So any hopes of this being reprinted for us poor people who might actually want to check it out?
I would love it if it was. I would have thought that, you know, now this year during the 30th anniversary was the perfect time. They just did a bunch of stuff a few days ago, September, you know, talking about the 30th anniversary of Darkwing Duck, since that's the month that it debuted. But yeah, nothing comic wise at the moment.
I don't know. Well, when I was told you worked on Darkwing Duck, obviously I thought it was the TV show because that's the way I think. So I started watching it, and it made me think of something. And you, as somebody who wrote for the character, i.e., something is kid friendly. There's been an argument now going around about this new Aquaman cartoon that's come out.
Yeah, I saw the art for it. It's but for the Thundercats Roar team.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of people that don't like it, and there's a whole bunch of people defending it. One of the things I heard that one of the arguments, and this is what really bothered me. This is kind of what got me jumping in, because you know, you can change opinions on Twitter, and you should jump into every argument that you possibly can.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course. Yeah.
The discourse on Twitter is so pleasant.
It really is, isn't it? But the preview, everything, it looks so childish. And somebody says, well, you're calling something for children childish. And I was like, that, you know what? That's part of the problem. I did watch an episode of Darkwing Duck. You know what I thought? I thought it was for kids, but it wasn't written down to kids. It's like watching the old Batman cartoon, the Batman Adventures. This is something that made kids rise. They made them think about things. Even Darkwing Duck, I'm watching it. I'm like, the smallest of kids can watch this, but it doesn't pander. It doesn't. This isn't them. The writers getting down on the kids level. This is almost demanding of the child to expand a little bit. I was very impressed with the Darkwing Duck cartoon. And
it had the Looney Tunes anarchic spirit to it, really kind of outside the box for Disney, which I think is one of the reasons that it's so fondly remembered, aside from being a really good show, was that, you know, it was very different.
Yeah, it surprised me, and it surprises me how many people today are a-okay with just let's give the kids trash, let's feed them. The TV beast already ate a whole bunch of us up. Let's save some of them. Let's get some intelligent programs, some intelligent comic books and such. So,
well, I think part of the problem is, and not necessarily this show specifically, but I think part of the problem is that a lot of shows are being made for adults in a state of arrested development, and I think that the state of arrested development is edging out into older and older ages. So you have people who are in their 20s and even in their early 30s that still emotionally act like children. And it seems like a lot of these things are being produced for them. And so, you know, they say it's for kids, but it's really kind of like dumbed down to a point where kids aren't really interested in it, but it's to hit that target audience. This is just a theory, you know, of course, but that's the way that things are being produced. They think this is what kids want. They think this is what kids will respond to, but really what they're doing is they're writing for their peers, from the internet. So
I think, and this is once again just a theory, and all three of us are in this particular, but I think ours was the first generation that kind of broke out of the you must do this, you must do that, in order to be an adult. We're also the last generation that was told this, really, that you must be a certain way. What is it to you got to give up childish things. I know there's a quote about that. But we're the ones that went, wait, why? If I'm an adult, can't I do whatever the hell I want? And if I want to keep reading comics, or if I want to enjoy Star Wars beyond what's healthy, or, you know, do stuff like this, I think I'm pretty sure that the kind of geeks that we are, there's cartoon characters all over our walls, you know, in some way, shape, or form. But the thing is we also were raised with that spirit of responsibility. And I think it dilutes it. And you can see it, especially on social media, where this is like third generation of, I don't have to grow up. And it seems like they remember the part where, yeah, you can grow up, but you still have to have those responsibilities. You still have to take care of your bills. You still have to, you know, take care of your families and so forth and so on. So it really is. I think you nailed it. It really is a bit of, let's just not. I don't know.
Well, it's good. I mean, it's good. I mean, yeah. When you speak to that, I mean, you're talking to somebody who, you know, pays all his bills, doesn't have any means of support, any means of help from family or anything like that. Who's been, you know, on his own for you know, since hitting adulthood. I mean, not to say that I don't have family that would support me if I needed it, but you know, I'm out there making it happen. But I also just got back from PowerCon, where I bought a bunch of He-Man figures that my collection was missing, and I bought the original Ghostbusters Firehouse playset. So I definitely understand, you know, still, enjoying childish things.
This was from my wife for my birthday. It's a Poison Ivy statue. So.
Hi, she's picking up a lot of green screen, but I know the.
Yeah, I noticed that. I could turn that off, and so I can actually show things when I show it, because I love the green screen. But there you go. But yeah, it's pretty awesome, and I was actually.
You know, I didn't set up any lighting or anything, because, like I said, I just got back from PowerCon, so you know this was. This was, so it's getting really dark in here. That's not better. That's spookier. That's like
that actually, yeah, that yellow tint. But don't worry, nobody expects professionalism on this channel.
So
that's good, because they don't get it.
They don't get it.
At some point, if it gets spooky, I might turn my camera off.
There you go. Yeah, do what makes you feel comfortable, man. Let's see. Adults in a state of arrested development. That is a really nice way to put it. It says Rhaegar. Let's see. Pixar knows how to make stuff for kids and adults. In general, I haven't seen, but what was that last one Disney did? I don't know if it was Disney or Pixar anymore, but it was Lucas or Lexar.
Oh, Luca. Luca, I think, was Pixar.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't.
If it goes straight to Disney Plus and it doesn't get a theatrical release, it's Pixar right now. For some reason, they're Pixar onto Disney Plus right away, without like a premium fee.
I wonder if, okay, all the contracts are settled. They got all the sequels out of them. If you remember, signing up with Disney came from with the caveat that they had to make sequels to some of their bigger hits.
Right.
I wonder if, like, okay, all the movies are done. They're in the theater. These are the ones that we wanted. Now we're going to kill Pixar like we always wanted to.
I mean, I can imagine Pixar has been such a boon for them, both creatively and financially. That strange. I just, you know, obviously these are decisions that are made way above anything that I'm involved with or have been involved with. You know, I don't officially work. You know, I'm a freelancer for Disney on occasion. I don't officially work for them, so. You know, I'm not privy to any of that information, but yeah, I can't imagine that that Pixar would you know, be something that anyone would be interested in devaluing, unless there is some kind of like weird power struggle going on within. You know, Pixar obviously has had its problems. They had to dismiss John Lasseter, you know, for some issues he had with the female employees and you know, some harassment allegations and things like that. So you know, maybe there's some things going on because of that, or you know, new leadership coming in, who can say. But as far as bringing up Pixar as an example of a studio that does it right, you know, that can make things that appeal to kids but also are appealing to adults, that was the model we were always trying to hit. When I was working on the Boom Pixar books, I wanted those to feel like mini Pixar movies. I wanted them to have the weight and the gravitas of a Pixar film. And I was told at one point by Boom's CEO, because, you know, we were having trouble with approvals, because Pixar had never done comics before. So approvals were tending to take a long time. And the note I was given, or the meeting I had with the CEO was, he said, well, you need to stop being so ambitious. Nobody cares. If it's just 22 pages of Buzz and Woody sitting on a street corner having a conversation, people will still buy it because it's Pixar. And I said, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. And I said, and also, I don't think that's going to fly with Pixar, because yes, we're getting a lot of notes and they're very particular about their properties. But one of the reasons that we've been able to work with them is because I want to hit that same, they see the ambition. The ambition is, I want to make it as good as it can be in comic book form. And that was, like Jesse Snyder, who worked on Toy Story with me, Landry Walker, who worked on The Incredibles, everybody was swinging for the fences. We had Alan Gladfelter on Cars. We all wanted it. Everybody who was working on it, and that was what was really unique about Boom Kids under my direction, was that everybody that I had an open submission policy. Anybody could submit to me. I didn't have to know you. It didn't matter. Like, you just had to contact me, tell me you wanted to submit, and then give me some credentials. If you're an artist, obviously you sent art samples. If you're a writer, you sent some writing samples, not for the property that you were pitching, but just, in general. I just wanted to see what a script from you looked like. And then I would say, okay, what's your pitch? And I would work with them on the pitch. And if we got it to a place that I liked it and that I thought Pixar would go for it, I would send it over to them. So everybody that was involved were people that loved these properties and wanted these properties to be the best that they could be. They understood them and they absolutely loved them. That was why it was taking some tinkering, because I didn't come in at the very beginning of the Pixar books when they were more kind of written like, very basic kids books. But we started swinging for the fences, and we started to get some good response from Pixar, to the point that a creative meeting was set up where I actually went down and I sat down with some of Pixar's brain trust, and we hashed out stories for like the next year and a half, 2 years. And it was a really successful meeting, and it actually saved the business for Boom for a little while. And then 2 weeks after that meeting, after I was told by Boom what a great job I had done, how I had saved the business, just pats on the back, they really loved you. 2 weeks later, after they had all those stories in the bank, is when they fired me.
That is something.
I found out from my contact at Pixar, who at the time was Ben Butcher, who was approving all the stories. And he's since gone on to work for another company. I can't remember which one it is, but I believe he's doing really well. And if he's not, I hope he's doing really well. But he ran into me at Comic-Con, and he said, hey, like 2 weeks or 2 weeks to a month maybe after I'd been fired, I think. And he said, hey, what happened? And I told him the story, and he said, well, just so you know, he said, when that happened, we got the email that you were no longer going to be the editor in charge. And he goes, and my response was just, well, obviously we are very disappointed with this decision. And he goes, and then I went in and I started the ball rolling on pulling the Pixar license from them, because I no longer wanted to work with them. He goes, we wanted to work with you. You got it. He goes, the other two guys who came with you, one of them was pitching us like he was a used car salesman, who was the CEO. And then the managing editor, he goes, and that guy clearly contributed nothing to the conversation. He knew nothing about our properties, and we could see it.
Well, yeah, that seems to go back to what we were talking about. Why would you get involved with anything if you just wanted to half-ass it? That is modern Marvel all over the place, it seems like these days.
Everybody's got to get paid, right? Like, and some people just want the prestige. Some people are looking for a leg up.
Yeah, I guess so. But don't you? Your name is on it. And look, I always joke, I joke about the unprofessionalism and all that kind of stuff on the channel. But the thing is I've literally, when I made a mistake on a video, I said, what do you guys think? Because I don't like plastic videos, the ones where basically you could see them reading the script. Right. I don't like the plastic. So I do like to riff and such like that. But you still want that video to be the best. You still want your book to be your best. Your name is on that. Why would you even consider, I'm just going to, I don't know, maybe if you use it as stepping stone, but then what you got to show somebody is crap. I've never understood that, especially when it comes to child entertainment. And we grew up on the Super Friends. I'm assuming because of what you said about the e-ticket, you and I are in the same generation. But we grew up on Super Friends, and that was great for the time. You go back and watch it, and it's very, very, very not. Yeah, it's.
There Think unlimited. We'll put it that way.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. So we do have a couple of comments. Let me. I got backed up. John Delarose is calling you the best Darkwing Duck writer, and he has that omnibus.
He does. Yes, he does.
So there you go on that one. Let's see what else we got. Aaron seems like a friendly guy. Initially, I thought he was a voice actor on Darkwing Duck. That's what I was told as well. So.
Oh, really? See, I get that a lot. Like, I get people go like, "Oh, you're the voice." Like, I'll be at a con with all the stuff laid out, and people will be like, "You're the voice of Darkwing Duck," and then I'll do it. I'll do the, I am the terror that flaps in the night, and everybody's like, "Ooh."
That's a good imitation.
I'm like, I'm not the voice actor. I said, I just, I kind of know how to do it, but I'm not the voice actor. And if I keep doing it, Jim Cummings is going to appear in a cloud of blue smoke and punch me in the stomach for, stepping on his turf.
Yeah, I used to, and I could tell people this, but I used to work on Slime Time Live. And the 90s kids who would watch that show, oh, really? Yeah, I've never seen it. Yeah, I was backstage. Oh, it's like you could see them get deflated. I love it because I was a Nickelodeon bouncer. If the kids on the bleachers messed up, I got to kick them out. If the parents messed up by trying to film the production, I got to kick them out. So I was a Nickelodeon bouncer for a while.
Eric, jump in here real quick. I'm gonna open the blinds and see if I can get a little bit better lighting.
Okie dokie. There you go. We'll read off some. We'll read off some comments here. And how you doing there, Eric?
I'm here.
All righty. Feel free to jump in. I know we talked a little bit Disney, but on the comic end of it, feel free to jump in if you want, or just enjoy this. Enjoy the stories. They used you as a worm to get the account, then cut you loose so they didn't have to. That actually sounds like decent. Well, there it goes. Joe Rogers is saying that they used you as a worm to get the account.
Well, to save it at least, because a lot of things were getting rushed out. We had a lot of problems with schedules. What happened was when the Disney contract was signed, and I actually really enjoy working with Disney Publishing.
And then cut you loose. So you were like bait? Hello.
No, I was there for a year. But what happened was when I inherited the job, okay, so Disney had given them the license. And then Disney had built it in so that for 6 months, they didn't have to pay for the license for that first 6 months, because that first 6 months was considered development time. And what Disney wanted was they wanted 4 to 6 issues in the can, approved and ready to go before Boom went to solicits in Diamond. And the reason for that was it was a big, aggressive program, and Pixar had never done books before, never done comic books before. So they knew that Pixar was going to have a lot of notes. It was going to take them time to get comfortable with someone else touching their characters. Boom didn't do that. As soon as Boom had the license, they went to solicits on what the books were going to be. And the books weren't done. So now they were under the gun. And the previous editor to me, Paul Morrissey, was doing all the work himself, multiple books, multiple levels of approvals on every stage. And they were behind the gun immediately. And so they're approaching these dates, and he doesn't have approvals on some of these books to go out. And it was really stressful, and he ended up leaving. And that's when they brought me in. So he was there for maybe 2-3 weeks training me, and then he left because it was just such a nightmare. And they kept promising me they were going to get me help. But at one point, I was editing 12 books, I think, with no help and having to wait weeks on every level of approval. So irons were getting dropped. I was like, basically like, okay, what are the books that are the most on fire? Cars was kind of on cruise control, no pun intended. The stories were pretty, pretty basic, pretty, like aimed at kind of like an even younger audience than the majority of the Pixar books. So that one was kind of on autopilot. It was running pretty well. So I was like, that's the one I can kind of ignore. Muppet Show, I can kind of ignore because, Roger Langridge is an absolute professional. The Muppet team loves him. That book is no problem.
And those were good books. I used to get the Muppets.
Yeah, the ones, they were really good. Roger's really great, right? And he doesn't get nearly the fan interest that I think that he deserves. He's kind of what I call a cartoonist's cartoonist. Like, we who are in the industry all love it and get it, but for some reason he can't seem to break that level of appeal with the audience. And I think that it's largely just because he's not marketed right. But so Roger Langridge is a great talent. You know, he deserves all the success in the world. So his book was really good. But the rest of them, like, I had to do a lot of work on to get them into shape. And so for a time at Boom, you know, and this is a job that I took because I wanted to do it, and I was like super interested in working in comics and also working on Disney properties because I'm such a huge Disney fan and Pixar fan and Muppet fan. You know, these are all things that I love. But, you know, I was only getting paid $35,000 a year to do it, and I was working 70+ hour weeks to try and get this all under control. And that takes a heavy toll on you. Yeah. And I was having to drive into LA. So it was taking me 3 hours to get to work, and then usually 2 hours home, because I would stay in the office so late so that I didn't have to, you know, hit all the traffic. And so it was a huge amount of time. Now, fortunately, I had another side hustle that was basically paying my bills, because, you know, that $30,000 wasn't cutting it. But I kept thinking, if I can make this successful, I can make more money at it.
Okay.
Hey, how do you break into comics? I'm like, well, so typically you always have to keep trying to break in, and just, you know, if you can do anything else, do it and do comics on the side, because, you know, for the most part, you're not going to make enough money to live.
That is kind of sad. We've been hearing that more and more, that people who make comics are definitely not making the bucks that would have been done in the 80s and 90s. But I guess the audience just doesn't seem to be there anymore.
Well, no, and you know, all these companies have shareholders, and you know, you can't, and comic shops are going away, and the books are too expensive for kids to get in. You know, the Boom Kids stuff was competitively priced. I think I want to say it was $2.99, but I could be wrong. They could have been charged $2.99 like they were for their standard.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could figure out a way to get that in. To get kind of like get the free samples out, get them addicted, bring them on in. Let's put out, so they put out these dollar comic things, you know, if Disney can get a hold of it, if they still have the license, I'm sure they could anyway. How about putting out dollar comics of the Dells or Gold Keys? Get those out in the hands so people go, oh, I want to find these Disney comics again. Make sure that we're in grocery stores again would be nice, or something, you know?
Yeah, there's ways that you could do it. I have a whole pub plan that, you know, if I was doing Disney books, how I would handle it to make it profitable and also to make it affordable to kids, and to get the books out there to a wider audience beyond your comic book stores. But you know, thus far, nobody's come and having me do it. So
yeah, I don't know. By the way, also, I would just love to see those Dells reprinted. I think that'd be a lot of
fantastic. There's such a huge back catalog, and you know, Disney at one point, you know, their comics legacy in the American market was huge, and I think that there's a lot of ways that you could bring some of that glory back. And there's a lot of properties that you could be doing, you know, not only reprints, but you could be doing new work with, and making money. But, you know, here's the problem, though, is that comics, it's such a small, you know, even if you got to get out into the book market, even if you're at Scholastic and you're selling, you know, tons and tons of copies, for Disney as a corporation, it's kind of a drop in the bucket. So
yeah, that's true.
This is a company that you know, will shut down profitable divisions just because they're like, well, the money that we're spending isn't generating enough profit for us to continue, you know, spending that money. So, you know, those are business decisions that every company makes, but especially a huge entertainment company.
Yeah, and with comic books, it's like, oh, so we with the comic book industry, we made $10 billion and $30,000.
Yeah,
it's
bring them in $1 million in a year. I mean, that looks neat for publishing. It's like, oh, hey, well, you know, we made $1 million in comics, but, you know, to the ultimate, for the company ultimately, like, is that, you know, is that worth the people that they're paying to do the approvals? Is that worth the, you know, the insurance that they're paying for those people? You know, everybody on their side who has to be involved, you know, those are all costs that they have to.
I think as a reader, as somebody who's a fan of Disney, is you don't want that to be you know, it's a business. We know, just don't make us feel it. You know, we want this stuff to go on. I love the Dell comics. I really do. I love the Disney stuff, the Davy Crockett's, the Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse was in comic books before Superman, ladies and gentlemen. He's been around for a long, long time. You know, so yeah, you kind of want that to go forward. But yes, there's a business behind it. And unfortunately, the comic books aren't winning the business industry. As far as the parks are concerned, we now have somebody in charge who really, I get the feeling that he thinks the guests, do we really need them? You know, all we need them to do is give us their money. We don't need them to actually stay.
You know where that comes from? Professional sports. They make so much money that they don't need the butts and the seats. So this guy maybe thinks he can get away with that at the theme park.
That's the way it is.
The WWE model, you know, we've got these deals with Saudi Arabia that are paying us all this money, so it doesn't matter if anybody attends our shows or if anybody watches our TV shows.
Hey, but on the plus side, the Saudi prince has not asked for a dead wrestler this time yet. Because the first time they did it, the first time they were going over there, he requested the Ultimate Warrior and then had to be told, he died.
Oh, okay. I thought there was something political in that joke, but it was just literally.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, I've made a video. I've got so many more things to say about Bob Chapek that it's I'm not a big fan of what's going on in the parks. We've talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the video for those of you who jumped on a little bit later. But both of us are Disney fans from childhood.
Maybe 2 months before the lockdowns. So yeah. I'm not super familiar with anything that's going on over there.
We jumped in. As soon as they opened the doors, me and my wife were like, woo, let's go. And originally they were going to get rid of annual passes at Disney, but Universal went, hey, we love the annual pass holders. Come on in, guys, and kind of shamed them. Universal's been kicking Disney's ass through this whole thing. Absolutely.
Universal has a lot. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, which doesn't, I mean, don't lynch me in the comments. I don't dislike Harry Potter. I've never read it and I never watched any of the movies. So that's like one of those geek areas where it's like I have no knowledge, but everything I hear about their Hogwarts is absolutely amazing and it's incredibly immersive and then it's kind of like what Disney originally was trying to do with Galaxy's Edge, but ultimately pulled back on is kind of the immersion. So but crazy good things about the Universal experience. The
Harry Potter areas are really done well. They really are. Diagon Alley, I think they did Hogsmeade, which is over in Islands of Adventure. I think they did that and they realized they made a few mistakes with the eye lines and everything. You could still see a roller coaster over here or something, so it might take you out. With Diagon Alley, they made it so when you go into Diagon Alley, you're in Diagon Alley. You're not there. There is nothing that's not Harry Potter any way you look. And that's one thing that Disney used to be perfect on, but they've kind of let that go. So if you're in Adventureland, they even had the buildings. So the ones that are shared with Fantasyland, you can't tell. Of course, I'm talking Disney World, not Disneyland, but you cannot tell where Fantasyland begins or anything. It would actually be Frontierland. But anyway, point being is Universal absolutely nailed it as far as immersion on that on the Harry Potter attractions. One thing I wish they didn't get rid of, but guess we're getting mad, is that they couldn't talk to you about things that were not in the Wizarding World. So people would go up to an employee that was in the Harry Potter area and ask about, where can I get a Coke? Coke? We don't have Coke in the Muggle. I do not know what you're speaking of. Yeah. I just need a soda. Give me a soda. So people were getting a little angry and
we weren't even. They're in Galaxy's Edge. Like I asked where the bathroom was, and they were like, we don't know what that is, and and then they're like, oh, do you mean a refresher? Well, the refreshers are located, blah blah blah, and do the two-fingered point, because it's still Disneyland, so you're still gonna get that two-fingered point. Oh yeah, you got to do that in theme parks. I actually, by the way, in my own life, I don't go, hey you. Yeah, it's over there. It's over there. Yeah, I noticed that I do. Like I do the two-fingered point now because I feel like ingrained in the
did you? Yeah, if you spend your time in the parks, that is one thing. Yeah, a protein spill is a 9/11 or no, a 10/11 or something like that. Let's see. LK saying, as I've said, Disney has done nothing, and I believe actually trying to kick out the regular people and replace them with the elite and influence. That is actually something that's been going on in the parks as well. I noticed that, and I brought it up a couple times on others, so I apologize to people who just get to hear me repeat myself, is that when they would find out in the parks that you love, so you tell me if they do this in Disneyland, if they find out that guests love something that they're giving away, they'll charge it. They'll okay, no, we're taking that away from you. Now, if you want it, you got to pay this price that is far out of your league. They started doing like people would line up around the lagoon at Epcot to see the fireworks. It's a beautiful fireworks show, but they would line up like 2 hours before just to get that perfect spot.
Right.
So Disney roped it off. Now, if you want in that particular spot, you have to have had a reservation at one of our restaurants, not the $15 hamburger restaurant, but the actual sit down. So they started doing stuff like that. There was premium fireworks space out at Magic Kingdom, right in one of the restaurants that they didn't use anymore, and they blocked it off. And now it's an $80 dessert dinner that you can eat cupcakes while you watch the fireworks.
It's hard
to
say if that's been done at the Disneyland park because I have no interest in parades, and I don't. The fireworks in the parks at Disneyland are always kind of over Fantasyland. So what they do is they shut down Fantasyland when the fireworks are going off, because I guess just in case there's like any kind of like spilling or anything like that. But you can stand on Main Street, you can see them. If you're standing in in Disneyland, no matter pretty much whatever land you're in, you can look up and see the fireworks. So I can't speak to them doing that there, but I mean I'm sure there's some pay to play kind of things there where it's like you have to have reservations.
Yeah, now they're kind of going back to the e-ticket attraction with this thing. Lightning Lane or something like that, where you pay a certain amount of money per day per person, and you're allowed to get Fast Pass. They've been giving away Fast Pass for 25 years, and they said, you know what? People like Fast Pass. Let's charge them for it. So yeah, they really have been working out the middle class and the families that Walt said, I wanted a place for families to go. And yeah, so if you're
in Jurassic Park where they said, where they're like, the movie, not the book, because in the book Hammond was a complete dick, but
yes,
in the movie he's like, this is not just a park that's catering to the ultra rich. And the lawyer's like, oh, well, we could have coupon day or something like that.
Yeah,
for the poor people.
Yeah, it's very much like that these days. So I do agree with LK, who's saying that that absolutely they're pricing people out. Who's Harry Potter? Are you've seen Harry Potter, right, Eric?
No, I have not.
Oh my gosh, you're missing out. It's good stuff. It's good movies, at least.
Pretty sure there was a game on that night.
Okay.
The night that Harry Potter was in theaters.
Every night that Harry Potter was in theaters.
In Disney, yeah, you're right, LK. Disney did have a first shot at Harry Potter. I don't remember the reason why they turned it down, but Universal took it from them, and they are now. It used to be where Disney just kind of laughs at Universal Studios, but they took a chunk. They're not really harming Disney. Disney's 4 parks and it's iconic and such, but they did take a part of the market share thanks to Harry Potter. And Disney's going to have to start taking Universal seriously, because next that they're bringing to Florida is Nintendo World. That they have a park in Japan that's very successful, and they're going to bring it here. And I've seen it.
Does the
Say
Nintendo
again?
include Pokemon, or is that a separate?
I don't know. I don't. Every time they've shown anything about it that I've seen, it's always been Mario. But that's just the front part that they were showing. I did see stuff in the background. I just couldn't make it out. But if it's Nintendo and they've got Pokemon and the whole 9 yards, that's going to be freaking huge.
Yeah,
Does Disney price? I mean, Universal, are they lower priced than Disney? Are they trying to get into the? Yeah,
not by much. Not by much. When I worked there, they used to have these meetings where they would get people from different areas. I was one of the leads manager at Twister. And so everybody didn't want to go talk because nobody wanted to put their freaking neck on the board. Me, I'm like, I got things to say, mother. So I was okay with going in. And one of the things I suggested, and you want to hear somebody like just absolute silence where you could hear a pin drop. I suggested, I said every year right before summertime, Disney raises prices, and usually they raise it, $5 to $10, maybe $15. I said, you want to get a whole bunch of people in for the next summer. When Disney raises their prices 10 or 15, you drop ours 5. Doesn't need to be a huge drop because the difference would then be $10, $20 in ticket prices, and people will be going, what? And they'll go straight to it because they'll see the price difference. It will actually make a difference. They looked at me like I had a third head. It was just, what the is this guy talking about? We would lose, no, you wouldn't lose money. I promised you. What
you would lose in individual ticket sales, you would probably pick up in bodies and volume.
Mm-hmm. And which would also lead to sales in food, sales in merchandise, and so forth and so on. Nope. That was not something they wanted to be a part of.
It's not corporate. It's that's one of those very good ideas. It's like they seem to have forgotten the concept of loss leader. Loss leader. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, we're taking a little bit less here to make much more here. I worked for a company where we used to have flat rate shipping, and sometimes we'd lose money on the shipping. But the point was, people would go, "Oh, I want to take advantage of this cheap shipping." And they would buy more and more product and have these big orders. So, because in their mind, they're saving tons and tons of money.
Yeah.
Well, have we been saying that about comics for years, about the pricing that, if you sell 100,000 books at $2, isn't that better than selling 40,000 at $4? I mean, I flunked math. My last math teacher said, I can't teach you and transfer me to home ec, but even I understand that.
Yeah, you make the money in volume. So, like, for example, I do a lot of ordering for a couple of shops, and the toys come in, and you go, okay, here's this mixed assortment of, say, Marvel Legends. You got your whatever assortment it is, but you go, okay, this character's 2 per case. There's more of that, so that character can be cheaper because we're going to have more of that. This one character is going to be hot, so that one's priced a little bit higher. If you buy the case, or you buy the whole set, you get them all at the MSRP. But if you're going to try to cherry pick us, some of those are a little bit higher because those are the ones that the people that are just going to buy one are just going to gravitate towards that, or the people that are going to try and buy it and resell it are just going to gravitate towards that one. So that one's a little pricier. But then the one in the case who's trash, you can actually mark down to just below cost and move those out, so you're done with those inventory, but you still haven't lost any money on the case.
Oh, there you go. I do like Image used to. I don't know if they still do, but they would only charge $9.99 for volume 1 of any of the series. Mm-hmm. That's a great way to be. Like like you said, it's you go, you buy that, you're hooked. Okay, let me get the next one. That seems like
door and like no barrier to entry. It's
mm-hmm.
like here's a very competitively priced trade that you can pick up and get the beginning of the story, and they used to drop it day and date of the 5th issue. So here's the first 4 issues in the trade for $10, and then the next issue's right there on the shelf at the same time, so you could grab both.
Yeah. So Universal, they are comparatively priced, but Universal is a little bit cheaper, except for on. I do not like the down payment. If you want an annual pass, you got to pay for like something like a full day at every park that's on the pass. And so like the down payment for the annual, because I'm Floridian, I don't know if they have this in Disneyland, but they have it where we could pay a monthly fee, but you got to pay, I think now it's $200 down, and then they charge 15 to 60 depending on what pass you got. But Universal does the same thing, but they want you to pay for a day for all the parks. So it's like damn near $400 is up front before That's just a lot.
Universal. I've never been to the Florida.
They got 2 theme parks and they've got a water park, which is beautiful. Their water park kicks the out of anything Disney has, as far as water parks are concerned. I love it. It's called Volcano Bay. Incredible water park.
Yeah, imagine myself water park.
not very much. It's fun. Their Islands of Adventure's been kicking
people's body froth and spirochetes and
right. The Islands of Adventure's kicking butt because they just got the Hagrids in. They just put in the Velocicoaster, which is pure awesomeness. And so they've made changes also to the Jurassic Park ride. So a lot of people are excited about going there. Bourne, excuse me, the Bourne Stunt Show just got put into Universal Studios. That I got to tell you, I thought, really, it's about 20 years too late, guys. Watched it, and oh my gosh, Disney has been crapping the bed with the attractions they've been putting out, while Universal's just leaps and bounds. They're mowing them down. So I think Disney will have to open their eyes to Universal coming up, because if it
hits them in the pocketbook, the Disney faithful, they spend money. So if they're still turning a profit, I mean that's the truth of any business, though. If you feel like you're not getting the value for your dollar and then you take that dollar away, then that's when the company has to sit up and take notice, no matter who it is. Well,
I'm a part of this of a forum. I just like to read certain forums on Facebook, and I'm a part of an annual pass forum. And there, it seems about split, because a lot of people are hating what's going on, and a lot of people are just flat out, if you don't like it, don't go, you commie. That kind of stuff. What will it take? Because, I mean, if you, I know you're in Disneyland, you haven't been here, but for a while, but they opened up a few years back. They opened up Toy Story Land. Mm-hmm. I went, and it's fun. And at first I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. That's really cool. But then I realized exactly what it was. It's fair rides. I mean, you got a roller coaster. It's a fun roller coaster, but you can find it at the fair. The other thing they have is one of these little spin ridey things that you can find at the fair. There's no real theming. There's nothing to it. There's no depth. Going to Galaxy's Edge. To me, the best part about it is what you're talking about, the theming. The guests, they're from Bach 2 or whatever it's called. I love that about it. Millennium Falcon, I've said this before, and I will say it again. Once again, apologize to those who just hear the repeat. If you're not in the front seat piloting, or you get to either be Han Solo or Chewbacca, if you're not in front, you're bored. So it's, the attractions aren't.
I've only ever been in the front, but I know in the back you've got to push a button or something to repair things, so your eye isn't on the screen, I think.
You're not even looking at the screen. They could have put the buttons in front of you, so okay, I'm doing it, and so you actually lurking out the window while you're doing it. No, you're looking at a freaking wall. It does, because the whole thing is, when the button lights up, hit it. So they really didn't think their attraction. They didn't really think their attractions too well, and it's been going on like this for quite some time. And not even just Bob Chapek, it's been Iger as well. That they've just been putting out mediocre stuff as far as rides and attractions. There's a ride, I think I've got a video of it on my Disney Channel, The Homegrown Tourist. It's not a ride, it's a show that they did based on Cars in Hollywood Studios. You go up there, and at first it's a brilliant audio animatronic of Lightning McQueen. And then he goes, okay, let's see how fast we can go. And then he turns around away from you, and you just watch a freaking screen. It looks like a 1980s driving racing game. And it's, wait, what are we watching here? It just doesn't, it's so mediocre these days as far as what they're putting out as far as rides are concerned. I don't know.
The Toy Story rides, it sounds, Toy Story Land, with it being fair rides, it sounds a lot like what Bugs Life Land used to be at Disneyland, which it had kind of fair rides, you know.
Did they have a ride where you're sitting in the back and you have some sort of character or something in the front, and you go around a circle and it kind of swings you, and then it swings you a little bit, but it's not too rough so the kids can ride it?
I think so. Yeah, I think they had something like that. They had like a little, you could ride Heimlich. Of course, that's all Avengers Campus now, which I haven't been to. But
right. So they literally just cut and pasted that ride over here.
Yeah, they might have. You know, there were, and it was very. I mean, it was fun. It was fun because it was kind of themed as you know, as Bug's Life, and you know, they made you feel like you were small, like insects, and everything around you was big, and it was kind of neat. And I was sorry to see it go. Obviously, they're going to go where the big appeal is, which is you know, the Marvel franchises. But yeah, I was sorry to see Bug's Life go away. I don't like it. I don't like it when things are taken out of the park. You know,
Me neither.
I still love, you know, and I know that the park was, you know, Walt had said that the park was always supposed to evolve, but I don't know that he meant that they were going to be chopping things out of it. You know, I still miss Country Bear Jamboree, and you know,
you don't have that anymore. Come on over, man. We've still got it.
Is it Florida? Because I would actually love it.
Yeah, we still have it, and I still drag my wife to it. She's kicking and screaming. I don't like country people. You married country people. What are you talking about? I stand by my statement. Evil Black Cat is putting me down, saying, "Hey, it's my favorite bald Aaron that likes Disney stuff." We have the same hairdo.
Is that you? Well, you know, we had a Groupon for that haircut. So.
There you go. Yes, it's actually required if you're an Aaron at a certain point in time.
Speaking of, I just realized that not only am I not Aaron, I have hair, so not sure why I'm here. No, but I do have to get going. I got to return a call and get ready for.
Right.
Sorry,
yeah, it was nice meeting you, Aaron. I got to get ready for my retrospective with Joe and Wes tomorrow. They hate it when I'm unprepared.
What are you retrospecting?
Tomorrow we're recording Daredevil 170 through 172, the first Miller Kingpin story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I said you guys have a great rest of the stream, and okay. I will see you tomorrow.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Have fun. Yeah, we do a series I call We've Got Issues, where we talk about anything. So that's basically what we're doing tonight. So that works as well. Let's see. Disney crapping the bed. They're copying Amber Heard. Oh, yikes. Looks like Aaron's frozen again on our side here. LK saying I was lucky enough to be a pilot on Smuggler's Run. It was fine, but Star Tours is still more fun. I agree. I hate that Disney turned it in and Space Mountain into Disney Star Wars movies. We don't have that over here as far. I don't know if we lost Aaron or not. We don't have that over here yet. So it's still classic Space Mountain. I wouldn't mind just seeing what that overlay is about. But for a while now, Disney seems to be more interested. Nope, I've lost both of them. Disney seems to be more of cut and paste rather than creating anything new. So, hello again.
Hey, the stream died on. Like I got booted.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Occasionally you were freezing up, and so I don't know what that was all about. But I do know, if you want, we can say the good nights and say where you're from, where everybody can find what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. Because my wife would like to be picked up from work on time at 11.
Oh, I just there's a question in the chat I want to answer.
Okay.
Favorite Darkwing Duck character? That's an interesting question, because to me it's like Sophie's Choice. People say, like, who's your favorite villain? Who's who's this? Who's that? I really like so many of the characters, and my favorite is kind of whoever I'm writing at the time when it comes to the villains. Whatever story I'm doing, I tend to get really, really into it. So, if I'm writing a Liquidator story, I'm like digging into that character. If I'm, doing a Bushroot story, I really fell in love with Bushroot. Those last 2 issues that we did for Joe Books, because it's the first time I ever wrote Bushroot solo, and he kind of took over where I wanted to go, and the story changed as I wrote him, because as I got into his character, I was like, well, you know what, he would actually do this, and this is actually better if I restructure it this way. So that's kind of the way to go. Of course, Darkwing's always a huge character. He's the main character, so he's very, very fun to write. But I enjoy the whole cast pretty much. The only Darkwing character that I never had any desire to include because I didn't find anything that I liked about him was Comet Guy. When I was a kid, Comet Guy bothered me on the cartoon, and I didn't develop any love for him in rewatching them all to make sure that I knew all of the minutia that I'd forgotten from my childhood. So, well,
I saw the first episode, so I know at least one person you're talking about. The other one I remember watching. What was it? It was DuckTales with Launchpad McQuack. I always enjoyed that character.
You know, Launchpad's great, and he's a lot of fun to write. One of my favorite bits was in the first 3 issues of the Joe Book series. We had a running gag where Darkwing's trapped inside the prison, and Launchpad is trying to get in to help him. And we introduced a reporter named Derp Derfson, and he's not a good reporter at all, and he keeps getting Launchpad's name wrong. So we had to keep coming up with variation of ways for him to get it wrong. So, you know, Lunch Pail McQuaid and things like that. And Launchpad's increasing frustration with it. So that was one of my favorite bits that we did with Launchpad. Okay.
Oh, and just to shill my own stuff on this channel and definitely Old Man Comics, you'll find the comic book origins of Gizmo Duck, who I think makes an appearance in Darkwing. I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a big character in Darkwing. Darkwing... kind of Darkwing's rival. Darkwing hates his guts. He's completely.
So yeah, check that out, please, guys, if you haven't done it already. So Aaron, when we can hear you again, tell us where we can find you and everything. LK saying Disney hasn't had creativity since Eisner. Iger was basically the collector from Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Are you back?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So where can everybody find you and get to know what you're doing and so forth and so on?
I'm on Twitter, just Aaron_Sparrow. If you want to avoid that hell site, you can come follow me on Instagram, which is a lot more fun. Just Aaron Sparrow on Instagram.
All righty. And
see me on either Clownfish TV. Sometimes I'm a guest, or I often appear on Thinking Critical with Wes.
All righty. Well, thanks for hanging out, man. Tim was right. I do like talking Disney and Disney comics and such. Eric came on, but he's not a Disney guy. So, so yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. I'd like to thank everybody in the chat for helping the conversation keep going as always. And thank you very, very much for watching. You kids have a good night.